So we are live. Africa Film Festival, Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know. I'm slightly delayed. I don't know what's going on with me, but Elodie, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your beautiful film, um, Les Grandes Personnes. My French is very bad, so please
Perfect.
forgive me. And I just want to dive straight in and ask you about your experience of making this film. You are part of the organization that organizes this, the large puppets coming from France, yes? And so, what was the experience like from the write up that was given to me? I know that you all were there for 4 years working with this community to make this film. What was that experience like for you coming from France and going to the heart of Africa to make this beautiful film?
Okay, so thank you to invited me and for sharing the movie with all of the people who wanted in Trinidad and Tobago. So just to remember that we were two realizators for this movie, and the story of the movie is really funny because as we were talking with Asha from the festival, the first time I saw them, it was in France, and I was a student, and it was in a festival, a music festival, and it was like some dreams. So they appear in this festival and disappear, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? It's like puppets or not, or what it is. And after that, okay, it's a part of my mind somewhere here. And 10 years after that, I came to Burkina Faso to work for the festival Rendez-vous chez nous that you see the director in the movie. And I saw them in Burkina Faso, and I was like, oh my god, that the same artist I saw when I was a student in France, and now I'm working with them. So that the meeting with the Grande Personne has a huge story. And after 4 years working with them in Burkina Faso, I came back to work in France. And the other realizators say to me that maybe it could be nice to write something about those people and how they work and how they manage to be artists and also agriculture or seasoner. And I was like, okay, it's a huge challenge, but we can do this. But before that, we have to ask them if it's possible and if they are agree to welcome us for a long time to live with them and can make this movie. And they all say that, okay, come on, come, and we will see, we will manage directly, in Burkina Faso. So we arrive, and for 2 months we stay with them, live with them. And what is really magic is that it's like how to say that, they trust us. So I think that's the most beautiful gift from them to us. But also they forgot us during the shooting of the film. So maybe that's why it was possible to have those pictures and this quality of interviews.
I
So
think one of the things that comes across very strongly to me is, and what makes the film so beautiful is that it sort of follows the timeline of the lives of the people, and showing how you can be an artist and a quote unquote peasant, as they describe themselves in the film. I think that that really comes across very beautifully, and it doesn't. It gives the film so much texture. You don't just turn up and see these people making these puppets. You see them living their lives and
mm,
including this process in the lives that they're living, and making art is also part of the life that they're living as well. And I think that was so beautifully expressed in the film.
Thank you, and thanks for them. And I think it's really inspiring to see that also, and to, because for example in France, being an artist, most of the time it's your work, it's your job, and sometimes people forget how and why they are making arts and for who, and sometimes they can forget how to share it. And being with them in Boromo, and how you say everything is totally mixed and linked, and art is part of life, as making food and going to school and being with your family or something. It's really powerful, and also for them is really powerful when we make the first projection of the movie in Burkina Faso this winter. It was really strong for them to see that, because for them it's so normal. They forgot that is really powerful to have. I don't know how to say. Is it clear? Sorry.
It's very clear. I understand exactly what you're saying.
So,
I understand.
yeah, and it's as you say, it's really part of the life. And when we arrived for the movie, we were another part of this life. It was like, okay, here we are, and let's go. But also for the movie, it was really important. It was also that we already know the country, the places, the people, and we have time. It's you can't do this kind of thing in a week. I think being there for 2 months only for the movie, that was really important. And even if we would like to have been there for more time, but 2 months, it's also nice.
Because it also allows you to be not just an observer or somebody who is looking at something, but also participating in the lives of the people. And I feel like that's also something that comes out. You said that sometimes they didn't notice that you were there, so it means that you were sort of embedded in their lives in a way that makes the film, for want of a better word, authentic in its voice and in its centering of their lives.
Yeah, because for us it's really important that in the movie nothing is theater. Everything is the real life. We didn't organize nothing to how to say that, like please come here and repeat this, and there are no rehearsals and nothing of this kind of things. So most of the time, Mathieu, my colleague, have had his camera and just staying here, choosing the point of view, the place, and we were just waiting here. And sometimes something happens, sometimes not. And that's also this long time of being here that helps for the movie. And for example, if you remember in the movie, the moment you are in family with Aisha, the kids, and she's cooking, preparing for the dinner. We stay there, and at a moment they forgot that we were here. So the children can come and come back, and the animals, and so we were really lucky also with the trust that they have on us to let us stay here in the courtyard, so thanks to them.
Yeah, really beautiful. So I wanted to get into some of the things that jumped out for me, particularly. There's one part where it is said that tradition is everything, but then it is also said close to the beginning of the film that this is something modern. And so I'm really interested in the sort of coming together of modernity and a modern sort of reinterpretation or revisioning of very ancient masking traditions that have existed in communities like Boromo for centuries, and how those old traditions encounter this relatively new tradition of the puppets.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because that was a part of the movie also, that to try to understand this, and how you can see it, it's really hard also for them to formalize it, because I made a lot of research on masks, on puppets, traditional masks, traditional puppets, and especially in west of Africa. And all of the characters of the film, we had long interviews about this. But for them, it is really difficult to fix it, because they are parts of both in their life. They are on the modern puppets with the grand person, but they also participated to all of the traditional dance of mask and this kind of stuff. So it is really hard for them to explain uh, how it works. So that's why they prefer to say that puppets grand person is modern, and there is other things that's traditional. But as you saw on the movie, everything is really mixed and linked together because of the beginning of the story with the sculptures, and also now they works all together.
Yeah.
But I think the respect of the traditional masks and all of the traditions put them in another side. It's like, yeah, it is really difficult. But what is important also is when they created the puppets, the giant puppets, they decided that to not to use the colors of the traditional masks. So that they wanted to separate it. So on the puppet, there are no red, no white, and no black colors. Because
Interesting that those are also our national colors, but they're also very sacred to a lot of the African communities
yeah,
who came here. So it's very interesting, the color. I mean, yes, absolutely. There are certain shrines where if you go for a particular ritual or masquerade, you
yeah,
cannot wear red and you cannot wear black. White is okay, but red and black in particular. So it's really interesting to now see those parallels, of course, across the water, and see what we have held on to. I mean, this is also a conversation that we are having in our carnival as well. Where is the space between what is traditional, what we have inherited, and what we know, and we want to continue to embody and pay
yeah,
respect to, but also how do we make space for modern innovation? How do we make space for a conversation to happen between the traditional and the modern within the space of the
yeah.
carnival? Yeah.
But I thought about things. It's like it is really interesting also that the people in Burkina Faso, for example, they don't know about the puppets and the grand person of Boromo. And if the puppets appear like this on the streets, some people uh, think it's like, oh my god, it's like ghosts, it's like some souls, it's like maybe it's like my ancestors or something like this. So the relation with the tradition and modernity, it also depends on the people and how they can how to say that in English, interpret it.
Interpret, yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so sometimes, because there are a lot of different masks and possibility in the tradition, so people don't know all of them. So sometimes they can thought that, okay, the puppets, maybe it's a kind of traditional things, masks or something, but it's not. But it's also interested to feel that sometimes.
But certainly, I mean, any sort of like manifestation of human in that larger than life form then takes on this idea of spirit, of transformation and
Yeah,
transcendence from just the smallness of your being. And I found that so many people spoke about happiness and the fact that seeing the puppets made them feel happy and made the whole community feel, like it lifted everybody's spirits. So it's not just about having this thing in the sky, this
yeah,
puppet in the sky, but it's also about lifting the eye level to something else, to something
yeah.
greater, to some new possibility that
Mm.
exists just from making this thing. And certainly that is also spiritual.
Yeah, for sure. It's a form
Yeah.
of a new community and communication, and so
Yeah. Yeah, exciting, exciting. Right. So I mean, lots of things came into my mind watching the film, and I'm sure it was the same for our audience. And I'm just wondering if Africa Film people, TNT, how y'all doing? Do y'all have any questions for Elodie, one of the filmmakers of this film, Les Grandes Personnes? My French teacher from Form 3
now
will not be
perfect.
pleased. But I think I'm doing okay. But yeah, if we have any questions from our audience, please let me know. Let's Lulu, how we do? Okay, right. So we have one question. How was the film received in Burkina Faso?
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing because we had four projections, two in Boromo, in the center. So how fresh air during the night in the center in Boromo. So those projection was really really strong because all of the inhabitants of Boromo was here, all of the characters, all of their family, and
Mm,
they were really surprised and also really proud
mm,
to it was really strange because it was like we were watching the movie at the same place that the movie is happening,
Right.
and like in a box like this, and at this moment it was like for them, oh, Boromo is really beautiful, and oh, what
yes.
I'm saying is so it's so intelligent, and oh, he say that, oh, she say that, and a lot of laugh, and so it was amazing to share it at this place. And after that, we have two projection in the capital at Ouagadougou, uh,
Mm,
and two different projection. One, how to say that, more institutional. So it was like shy projection, and another one with really different people coming from the neighbor. A lot of artists, really famous artists came to see the movie, and it was really strong because they really um, it was a big discover for them. It's like, okay, we know the grande personne, but we don't know that how they live and why they do that and how they do the puppets.
Right.
And also that really for the artists, they were like, okay, it is also really important to stay on earth. I don't know if in English it's the same as in France, but you have your foot on the earth and being there and trying to go on. And a lot of artists were really emotive about the movie, rethinking about why we do art, how we do art, for who, with whom. Um, and it was really beautiful to see the grand personne de Boromo, the characters of the movie, seeing that some stars of Burkina Faso watching the movie. It was like, the role were inverse. So it was really nice.
I mean, I see. From my own experience in Burkina, there are quite a few traditional elements that you see around, at different things. I saw, as I said to you before, I saw these puppets first at Fespaco.
Yeah.
And I imagine you having spent some time in Burkina, that you would have seen so many other traditional characters. Are there any others that you're thinking about filming and making another documentary on at some point?
No, now we really wanted to make another documentary on about the sculpture, because for this movie we pass a lot of times with the sculptors, with Beaumavet and all of his family, and it was really powerful and really strong, and it was not possible to share in the same movie the story of Beaumavet and the sculpture, because it's too huge, and it's really intense, and it's another story. So
Actually,
right now,
he was my favorite person in the film.
Yes.
I really liked everything that he said.
Yeah.
Starting with when he said the masks do not speak.
Yeah.
In France, it's not possible for them to speak in France. So even that idea that when you take the mask itself out of its home, out of its natural environment, it sort of loses some of its power.
Yeah.
Particularly when you hang it up in a museum, it because it's not being embodied with the spirit, it cannot speak in the same way. So yeah, I really liked his energy and his personality, and I would love to see a film about Beaumavet.
Yeah, so we have to find some money. So if you know some people that can help us.
Well,
no, yeah, it's a joke. But just to say that it's so big to speak about him and his family and all of those tradition. So that's why we think it could be interesting to have some movie really focus on it, and all of the sculpture and the people who works on tradition in Boromo and around came to see the movie, and it was this person don't speak so much, but we feel that they are really proud, and also they told us that, okay, if you want to do something like this with the sculpture, it's all right for us, and so we will try.
Awesome.
We will try.
I had another note. Lulu, you have another question? I lose my note.
As someone from France doing this documentary, did you feel that you had, I mean, it certainly shows in the documentary that you had quite a bit of access to the characters, and they were very comfortable. I mean, as you say, sometimes you just really don't even realize that there's a camera film, and it was so natural and so on. But did you find at all at any point it was quite challenging? Did you feel a bit of, was there any barriers? Did you feel that you are an outsider and needing to try to kind of get in deeper? How did that work for you?
It is really particular because we were friends all together before the movie with some of the characters. So we could be really frank each other. But for sure, we try to respect them, respect their life, So maybe sometimes if we could feel that it could be complicated because of the families or of the tradition or this kind of stuff, we ask them, and also we say to them that, okay, if there is any problem, say to us, we don't want to film and force to film things. So it was, really simple. But for us, it was really important that to really respect them, the way of their life, and that's also why the point of view of the movie is how to say that in English, but we choose that we are like face to face and front to front. We also choose the long time, because for us it's really important to significate this, because the life take times, and some people say that in France that the movie is too long because of this, but for us it's a big part of the tribute, that to respect this, the way of the life. So the time is sometimes long for people coming from big cities, but it's really important. So, it's little things like this we put all together, and we try to put all together and up.
I feel like this is a challenge that happens between, places places of the South and places of the West, where we are trying to have a conversation in film, and perhaps the films that are made that are true to the rhythm of how the people move in the space. So, it's very circuitous, it's meandering, something might happen or it might not, as you pointed out. That's sometimes how life moves in this part of the world, and we have this clash that happens when we then try to project that story into the world, and there's this clash of consciousness that happens between the audience that does not know this way of life and the story that's being told, which is slow. And I also wanted to ask you, what was the feedback like in France, not just from the mainstream French population, but also from any Burkinabe community that live in France? How did they respond to seeing a film like this about their homeland?
For the Burkinabe like diaspora or community here, but also in Burkina, it's like for them, how to say that in English? They feel the village. It's like they can project them in their own village and own families there. So it is really nice, this kind of feedback, because that seems that the movie is really close to the way of life there. And also people like that there are all of the languages, not only French. And I think they feel like home, when they watch the movie, that they say. But
I mean,
Awesome.
I want to jump back to the pacing that y'all were talking about before. I mean, I really felt that and appreciated that, that there was no rush to tell the story, that, you took the time with the characters and things that might seem mundane, and I feel like that was really respectful in terms of that kind of pacing. And it's something that I see quite often in African films, at least some more classic African films. Now, I think has kind of gotten a little quicker, and more efficiency and so on is probably what they're calling for. But I really appreciated that pacing and that sense of village life, what it feels like and how long things take to happen, and the ease with which people move through their chores and their days and that kind of thing. I thought that timing was really, really, really beautiful. Very delicately done.
Thank you. And we realized that during the shooting of the film, that also the how to say that, it's a good sorry, it's the night here. I'm a bit tired.
You say it in French first, and then
no, it's like a feel good movie.
Yes.
Like
Right.
and
Yes.
it's really rare about Africa and about the continent, because and that some festival or people say that, oh, it's too feel good movie, and we are not used to
Happy films from Africa.
come from Africa. But in Africa, people are living, even if they are terrorism or this kind of stuff, like it's the real life, and for us, it was also really important to show that and share that with the rest of the world.
Agreed.
They are not only wars and famines, and they are life and arts and love and families and so.
And also a different kind of energy than what is projected in, say, like the Nollywood format, which is like a certain amount of wealth and progress and sophistication and city life, and sort of moving away from the same village life, and laughing at village life, and being critical of village life, but also just not really understanding that without the village, there's no place for you to escape to when things go wrong in the city,
But what is really funny, if I can say it like this, with the COVID, for them, it was more easy than for other people and other artists, because they have all of their fields and also the arts. But when the country was locked down, they could have something to do, to eat, and it was like really strange for them to understand that just after the shooting of the film, that it is also really powerful for them to have both activities and living in a village, and so.
Very instructive story of balance and how far away from balance we have come in terms of modernity, where we feel like, okay, this is your profession, and so you make enough money from this profession so that you can then buy food and buy a house, etc., as opposed to taking an approach that I can do my art, but I also can grow my own food, and I also have enough skill set to be able to build a community art center so that my art can live and continue and not depend on the funding of some agency that is looking at their bottom line. I really love that about this. It really spoke to resiliency and self-sufficiency of artists who are, very visionary and very clear about what their vision is for their art.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know it's late, Elodie.
And sorry, my English at this time is really hard. Sorry.
It was perfect. It was much better than my French.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you. We are really happy that the movie was at the Africa Film in Trinidad and Tobago, and the Grande Personne knows that, so now they are waiting for the invitation to come to the carnival.
We have to make it happen, especially Mr. Bomave. He needs to come here. We need to get him here.
Definitely. That's something we definitely
put it into the universe. It will happen.
Thank you again. Thank you. And to Matthew as well. It's a beautiful film. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
All right, folks, this brings us to the end of Africa Film TT 2021, our online edition. We've had a full week of films, music, art, and so much more. And I'm really happy to say that, I think that our audience has grown. It has expanded tremendously based on the numbers. Now that we have these analytics, we can see how many people tuned in. And I'm really happy to see that what we are aiming to do at Africa Film TT is coming together. We are seeing the connections and the reconnections with the continent. We are seeing the collaborations happening. We are seeing, more young people involved. And for that, we are really pleased and grateful. So before we close, I would just like to say a few thank yous. Thank you to all of the filmmakers who participated in our film talks, the moderators. I would like to thank all of the artists that participated in our art exhibition, our featured artists this year, Chanel Ambrose, Navid Lancaster for his wonderful music as usual. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Republic Bank Limited, the Power to Make a Difference program, National Gas Company, the Massey Foundation, and also to our partners. We were really pleased once again to partner with the Black Consciousness Film Festival, and we hope to continue along with that collaboration. Who else? I would also like to thank our team, our small AFTT committed, hard-working team who have really worked hard to pull this festival together. Melanie, Crystal, Chanel, Shay, Patrick, and of course, Lennox. Thank you so much for your commitment to this project. And what else? Also, for those of you who might have missed some of the films, we have a bit of a little lanyard on TV6 coming up from Thursday the 3rd of June to Sunday. So tune in, you might catch some of the films that you missed, and look out for some more events coming up before the year is over. So thank you once again for your support. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for those wonderful donations.